Hi there, my name's Jane Anderson. I'm a strategic communications expert and I specifically work with people who are experts in their field. So speakers, trainers, coaches, consultants, anybody whose expertise is a matter of trying to get out there and help people. And quite often you're on stages, you're in workshops, you're in mentoring sessions, and no doubt that you're probably really affected by COVID-19, the impacts of that with your clients. Every second speaker I talk to at the moment has lost, 25 to the rest of the gigs for the rest of the year. You're looking at a probably pretty empty calendar. Some of you might even have coaching practices and maybe you're doing a bit more coaching, so you may not have been affected as much as a speaker, but equally it creates a lot of angst, creates a lot of stress because there's the flow-on effects of people going, well, I don't have budget to work with you anymore. It affects confidence out in the market with people working with you. They cut their costs, and they really need to find, you have to be able to demonstrate a pretty big return if they're going to continue working with you. Who knows how long this could last? I'm definitely not a scientist. I'm not an expert in this stuff. However, I have been through 7 floods in my lifetime. Now, what does that have to do with coronavirus? Well, what I've learned is that I've learned to cope in a crisis, and I've learned how you stay calm in the chaos, and I've learned about what you need to do to be able to make sure that you survive this, and find ways to make the most of this time. So what I've learned, I grew up in country New South Wales, and we didn't always know very much about whether like the weather and things like that. Like had no control over these things. But what we did know is that what we had to do, and we knew that how to make the most of the time and create an action plan so that we could recover really well. So today what I'm going to talk about is if you're an expert in your field, how you can make the most of the next at least 30 days. This could go on for the next 6 months, 12 months, who knows. But what I do know is that if you do some work now, if you get in and you make the most of this time, and you get in and set your practice up well, create some really solid foundations ready for the next 12 to 18 months, then what I do know is you're going to be able to recover quicker, and you're going to be able to regain your positioning in the market. So my goal for you is to not sit and watch Netflix and eat ice cream for the next 30 days. That's definitely what I don't want you to do. I've put in my plan for the next 90 days, and I've put in plans for the clients that I'm working with, and I want to be able to help you to do this. But if not, if you want to just do this by yourself, I'm going to give you what I think are the 14 things, 10 plus 4, 14 things that I think you could work on over the next, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's a month, maybe it's the next 90 days, we don't know. But I reckon you could do these things in the next 30 days if you're prepared to really get in, do the work and make the most of it. Because that's what I've learned through a crisis, is to not muck around, stay calm, but make the most of the time to be able to get it to work for you. And I love this quote from Leonardo da Vinci where he said that time abides long enough for those who make the use of it. And I think that's so true. So I often think about, back when I went through the amount of floods I've been through, is that, I grew up in Lismore in northern New South Wales. So it's an old volcano. And so I lived up on the hill. And so we were the ones that were on flood group, my sisters and my family. So we were on flood group for work and school and all that sort of stuff. All the other kids got to go home early, but we were the ones that were always doing the cleanup and the pack up and getting things ready. So I reckon this is about getting ready and putting these things in place. So the 14 things I want to teach you that I reckon you would spend your time on over the next 30 days if you haven't done these things already. And I've put these things together because when I'm out working with people, I'm working with experts every day. These are continually the things that people say to me that they haven't done. They've been too busy in delivery. They've been busy out doing workshops and on stages and on the road, and haven't had time to do these things. These will get you the biggest return, absolutely, and you could even start to get the return out of them now. So here they are. Number one is sort out the copy on your website. So have a look at your like the landing pages for your programs. Do you have landing pages for each of them? Have you got a video? Have you got testimonials? All those types of things. I think you want to take the time, block the time in your calendar to do it. The second thing is you want to have a look at cut through, like have a look. You need cut through to be able to initiate conversations with people. And for that, you need something like a white paper. And you need one that will generate meetings, that will open up conversations. So if you don't have a white paper for your practice, or even for some of your programs, now is the time to do that. The third thing is you've got to connect. You've got to use this time to reach out and connect with people. Make sure your profile is really up to date. Make sure that it's that you are reaching out to at least 30 people a day, and that should get you moving with about a possibility of about 10 leads a day out of something like that, even in these times. The fourth one, I reckon you've got to work out your communication strategy. You've got to make sure you're communicating with people. The last thing that I would say to people is don't stress that people are going, I don't want your newsletter at the moment. I want to hear all stuff about coronavirus. Well, what we do know is that if you can make sure that your newsletter is continuing to be open, continue to help your clients, continue to inform them, is that you'll get a return out of that. We do know that people on your database and your newsletter typically spend about 50% more than anybody else. So it's really important to continue to communicate. Number five is you got to create something that converts. You need to create a brochure. So if you don't have a brochure for your program, if you don't have pricing models, if you don't have a way that people can buy from you, when business starts to pick up again, then you're going to be left behind. People will have budget, and they'll be getting to try and spend, and because they need their team members working, and they need them to have help. Equally, even if you have clients, the business is picking up and they're going to need help. If you don't have brochures and things like that ready to go, they can't buy from you, and you've got to be really easy to buy. That was number 5. Number 6 is community. Now is the time to build your tribe, build your CRM. If you haven't already, find a way to be able to start to get all those email addresses out of your spreadsheet and start to put them into a system so that you can get traction when things get busier again. Start to get your records and your housework in order. There's community. Number 7 is CAPTIVATE. I reckon now is a good time to work on some storytelling. I reckon there are 5 stories that every expert needs to tell, but you'll know which ones are right for you. So, but have a look at things like, maybe your purpose story, or maybe it's your like one of your customer stories. Have a look at the stories you need to put into your program. Stories are often the things that take the time to think. So now is the time to do them. Now, what do we got? Number 8 is compose. It's time to write a 10,000 word ebook. You can do that in 3 hours. Yes, you can. I've done it myself, and I've been running content creation workshops for the last year. It is definitely possible, and anybody who's been in my programs will tell you that it is. You can definitely pull something together in that amount of time. In fact, we normally do it in 2 hours, but with a little bit of pre-work, and once you know what to do, you can get it done in 3. So now is the time to start to pull together some of your thoughts and put them in collaterals. That was that was number 8. Here we go. Number 9 is credibility. And credibility is to have a look at your About You page. Did you know that on average, for most people, around 27% of people will look at your About You page on your website? So make sure that you go and have a look at it. Is it still relevant? Does it match who you're trying to serve? Because my guess is it's probably been a while since you looked at it, and it's a really key collateral to make sure is up to date. Number 10 is content. Now is the time to create content for your social media. In 2 hours, you can typically create 10 pieces of content in 2 hours. So take the time, block the time, set a goal for yourself, and get that content out, get it ready and get it scheduled and get it repurposed. You just really want to get that think once and use it often. Create your podcast, do some videos, get your content together so that you can start to get it out and get it ready and get it moving now. Um, what was that? Number 10. Number 11. 10, 11. 11 is keynote. Is perhaps it's time, maybe you're thinking about, because all speaking has pretty much been cancelled at the moment. So it's time to perhaps think about, well, next year there's going to be a lot of events on. I do a lot of work with event planners and conference organizers, and even they've said to me, we're bunkering down, we're doing a lot of work now, because we know when we went through GFC that we had a cracker of a year afterwards with lots of events. So what you could do is get your keynote ready, start to get your plan together of what you're going to speak on. Get your stories, get your content, practice it, get a sound for it, and start to work on that. Now would be a great time to do that. Number 12 is conversation. I reckon now's a good time to have a look at your sales conversations. Look at your data and work out how many meetings that you've been to and how many you have actually converted. Are your sales conversations really not up to scratch? Do they need to be better? Is now perhaps a good time to work out a better sales strategy in the conversations that you're having with people? Maybe it's time to pull some scripts together. Maybe it's time to do some more research, watch YouTube videos, whatever it might be. Is where are you going wrong in your sales conversations, and do some analysis on them so that you can get a really much better traction. Either there could be people wanting to buy from you now. Remember, Woolworths, it's their busiest time now, and Coles. So there's plenty of opportunity out there. Maybe it's thinking about your sales conversations and how to improve those. All right, that's number 12. Number 13. 13 is commentary. Is look at how can you get featured in mainstream media. There's a lot of people wanting to talk to people, like Sunrise, you've got the newspapers, Today Show. I've been on all those. I've been on Sky Business, and now is a great time to pitch your ideas, because a lot of people are looking for information. And it doesn't even have to be those big breakfast television shows. I was featured in a magazine with really high levels of traffic last week, where I talked about the brand of Harry and Meghan. And so finding ways that you can contribute to conversations around your area of expertise. People are doing a lot of reading at the moment, and people want information. So it's a great opportunity to do that. And number 14 is what's the cure? So create a diagnostic that creates insight and solves problems for your customers. I don't know if you've ever created a diagnostic before. I've created about 4 or 5, I think. I've created 3 for myself and a couple for clients. And they're kind of like a really customized way for a customer or a client to get an insight into the problems and challenges that they have. So if you've never done one before, or you're thinking about doing one, now would be a good time to go and have a bit of a play, try it out, maybe go and survey some people. Use this time to gather data and gather information and insights. And you'll be surprised at what you'll learn. And then you've got some really powerful data to be able to share with your audience, particularly when things start to turn around a little bit. Equally, maybe now shows up that it's a good opportunity for you too. So all these collaterals are some of the things. I reckon there's 3 things you need to think about when you're doing them. You need to be really clear about your customer, what your offer is, what the purpose of each of those pieces of IP are for. The second thing is you've got to really have a sense of connection. The customer needs to be able to connect with it and be able to really see themselves in the problem that you're solving. And then, of course, the third one is you've got to get cut through. You've got to be able to stand out from everybody else. You've got to get to the heart of the problem. And it needs to be able to be easy for a customer to buy from you. Because I think if you can get those 3 things, what happens is you show deep insight. You show the power of influence, and you have a deep impact for the clients that you're trying to help and doing the work that you've been put on this planet to do, particularly even at a time when it's like this. So I hope that helps. I've put together a program called Kick-Ass Collateral, and this program is happening over the next 30 days, and it's designed for people who are experts who want to make the most of this time. If you don't want to sit around and watch Netflix and eat ice cream for the next month, then I would do those 14 things. if you hear those 14 things and you go, I have no idea how I would do that in 30 days by myself, then I'm happy to hold your hand, and I'm happy to guide you, show you examples, show you what you can do to get support or help, and hold you accountable through the process. We'll have a Facebook group. I'm going to record all the sessions, so if you can't make one, and we're going to put these over the next 30 days. Equally, if you watch this and you've passed, I'm going to kick this off on Wednesday, the 18th of March, then we'll see if we can roll you into the next month or something like that. But for now, I don't know what's going to happen in the next month, but what I am going to do is put this on, and equally, so go do those 14 things. If you need help though, and you want to jump in with me, I'm more than happy to help you with it, because I'd love to see you be able to get everything ready, get your house in order, and be ready to rock when your customers are ready to. So you'll find the link below. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I look forward to seeing you in Kick-Ass Collaterals.